Welcome to Naps and Taps, episode 3. Marcus, what's up?
Are you, would you consider yourself a feminist?
Well, for the dictionary definition of feminist, yes, but I'm still one of those dudes who, for whatever reason, I'm older, you've kind of grown up when feminists were just women, and I'm still trying to get over the hump of saying that you're a feminist means that you're calling yourself a woman. I still kind of feel weird saying it, but yes, I'm for all the things that feminism is in terms of
original feminism.
Yeah, equal pay, equal work, equal opportunities, all that sort of stuff. There are some, and I'll emphasize some feminists, some people who identify as feminists are more what you'd call
Feminazis?
Yeah, or as a Jewish guy, I hate attaching Nazi to everything, but you know what I mean? The actual, women are going to eat men and we're going to, take over the world and we're going to fuck you over. I'm obviously not for that. I want everything to be equal. I'm not going to be like a cuck and be like, okay, now you can have everything and men get nothing. But
what do you think of this postmodern feminism movement of everything, including Me Too or ousting out people, basically Me Too, and just PC-ness and everything that's coming on?
I'm a case by case sort of guy. I think that people of both sexes, and especially some men, need to be held more accountable for their actions, but I also believe in due process for everyone. I believe that just because someone wants to start a rumor that someone's a abuser, or that doesn't just the declaration of it on Twitter shouldn't be enough to sink someone's career. Maybe proven allegations, that's a different story, but even then
but you do see how it's beginning to run amok a little bit.
I see,
especially with social media.
Yeah, I see social media has become a problem for a lot of things. It's allowed these sort of groups to sort of because what I'm talking about here is as you put it, feminazis. I'll try and find another word so that my grandma doesn't kill me for using the other N word too much. But social media.
You're lucky you have a grandma. I don't even have a grandma. But go on,
yeah, exactly. But it's social media has created a lot of problems in that way. It's just too easy to people
to say some shit and fuck people up.
It's too easy to create lynch mobs and problems in that way, and it's just that's endemic of the society we're in now, where even outlets that used to produce good journalism have been reduced to getting clickbait because it is what sells. I think overall as a society, everyone needs to take more time to actually learn facts and have due process before we start sort of trying people in the court of public opinion.
So what do you think of the old ways of doing things? Because this whole equal pay, equal rights, it's great and everything, but it's a very, very new, and it's very, very still in the implementing stages. Just even within my lifetime, before the 90s, for example, it was just mostly single income households. The men worked and the women stayed at home. I don't know about you, but my parents' generation, my mom's friends, her age, the women her age, so they're probably about 60s now. None of them worked.
Yeah.
None of them. Most of them. Even the divorced ones didn't work.
Well, it's also
what is that?
Kind of our society needs equality at the moment for so many reasons, but the problem is you've seen wages fall in real terms. Of course they're higher, but inflation exceeds spending power. How many people could actually support a household of 1 or 2 kids and a wife and a husband off one income, be it the wife's income or the husband's income? It's almost, unless you're it's only the ultra ballers now, doctors, lawyers, that can do it. But
sometimes not even.
Of my dad's generation,
so maybe
people with normal careers could support a family, but now it's almost impossible to do. So it's
even with one income, let's say it's a lawyer's income, and it's let's say it's 6 figures, and we're talking about kids and tuition, healthcare. If you're in America, that's gonna be that's not enough. You need at least 2, maybe even more. So do you think it's the economy that's pushing towards this,
I think like
more women
people
coming out to.
Well, people up top are always going to take advantage of whatever little breaks they can get. Like now,
Tax breaks, you mean? Like,
well, I mean, just all kinds of breaks, societal breaks. Like now, it's becoming more of the norm for households to have dual income because of the steps we've made in equality. So it's possible for employers to sort of push shittier wages on people because people don't have to really. There's so many other things I can't get into.
Thank God for Toronto, which has one of the highest minimum wage levels in the world. I can't find a place that's like higher. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put that in our next podcast. We're trying to find a place.
We can Google it, but I think more the thing is
Ontario is up there. It really is pretty nice.
Yeah, Ontario is a really interesting one for me in that, you've got like this whole provincial government thing, and they've decided the minimum wage province wide, and it's really so much stuff in Ontario is hard to do for the province because it's like you almost need one set of laws for Toronto and one set of laws for the rest of the province, and Toronto, most businesses in Toronto can sustain the minimum wage that Ontario has.
Can or can't?
I would say can. I'd say most successful businesses can.
Yeah.
And also most people in Toronto really need that minimum wage just to barely take care of their expenses and stay afloat. But the thing is, you go out of Toronto and you go to some of the small towns, and you could probably easily argue that these small businesses in small towns are really going to battle to sustain the minimum wage. And also people in these small towns, I can't remember, I think my girlfriend's from Midland, and her friends have recently bought a house, and I'm trying to get everything right in my mind, so I'll paraphrase this with I am just guessing and trying to remember, but I think they effectively bought a house with somewhere between a 10 to 20 grand deposit.
And like a first mortgage payment?
Yeah, well you got to have your deposit to be approved for a mortgage.
Yeah.
They had something somewhere between 10 to 20k together for their deposit. And
how much is the house?
I'm trying to remember that exactly as well, but I think less than 200k or and these are people and their mortgage payments are less than what someone would pay in rent in Toronto, so I mean, and it's there's not as much happening in Midland as there is in Toronto, given I probably wouldn't want to live there at the moment. My girlfriend might listen to this, we might want to live there someday, but not right now. But it's right by the other side of the lake, and it's got great hikes, and it's not a bad place to live. But anyway, it's what I'm getting at is you probably don't need a $14 minimum wage to sustain yourself in Midland, Ontario. A lot of
the people, I don't know what women were like in New Zealand. Maybe we can talk about that later. But back in Hong Kong, I have this very vivid memory where, how we have a lot of people coming, just nasty people, not just women, being just nasty to people in customer service.
Yeah.
I need to talk to your manager, those kind of people. And let's face it, some of them are women, and my mom was exactly like one of those people.
Yeah.
My mom was one of those complainers. I don't know if you guys do this, but in Hong Kong, because there's so many people and so fast-paced, restaurants have to constantly kick people out. You can't sit here for more than 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever, during rush hour. And people, as a retaliation, are constantly rushing restaurants. So let's say we're eating, and then we go to a restaurant to eat, and then we order, and then within 2 minutes we can talk to the waiter and be like, hey, if the food is not coming, we're just gonna cancel the order. Yeah. That's called chasing the order. That's something that we Hong Kongers do. And my mom would always do that because it'd be it'll force the food to come faster, and B, you can get your money back.
Yeah.
So my mom is one of those nasty complainers, chasing orders at the restaurants all the time, and bitching out when restaurants ask them to leave, she would bitch them out, and just a nasty person. And the reason that I think that she was kind of like that was because she never worked. She never got the other end of it.
Yeah.
Because if you work retail, if you work restaurants, if you were a waitress, and you suffer through the same shit that you had to take from other people, these whining, complaining bitches, men included, you won't be like that. So I was wondering, what kind of culture, what kind of stuff.
I mean, overall, New Zealand's a lot more relaxed society than Hong Kong, just on like so many reasons. I mean, it's pace of life. I mean, we have like a couple of big cities where things happen. I'm not trying to make it sound like a little hick town, but it is a lot more relaxed, and pace of life is easier than here. Like an empty train here would be what they consider a full one back home. I think I said this on another podcast, like a busy train back home is when you can't get a seat. Whereas here, like a busy train is...
You can't get in.
Yeah. Exactly, where you got to wait like 3 or 4 trains to get on one.
Have you seen the Tokyo train pushers?
I would love to be one of those.
Professional train pushers. That would be a great job. Man, I was like, if I can push people in the fucking train every day.
One of my friends from like back home did that for a summer. Like,
oh my God.
But he's like huge. Like he's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
So like it was like this gigantic...
Use leverage. You use Jiu-Jitsu.
And it must have like freaked out the locals because he is like this 6'4" like white man with the big arms.
Oh, he did it in Japan.
Yeah. He was actually in Japan.
How did he get that job?
By being a big dude, I guess. I think he just pretty much showed up and was like...
And people were like, okay, you're hired.
Yeah, they looked at him, they were like, you don't even need the hand things. Like, it's natural, just out there anyway. What was the original question? Well, I've gotten so lost on this hand pusher thing. Oh yeah, that's right. I was just saying, I love this. Like, we started last episode as a racial tension episode, and now you're trying to get us offside with all the women watching. Yeah. It's just like
trying to hit everything.
Hate groups out there. Someone, please, like, denounce our podcast. Say that we're talking badly about your group and that everyone should boycott us and that we need to be hated.
That's how we're gonna get famous.
We need the publicity. Exactly. Hate us now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did your mom work? Oh yeah, your mom was an artist.
Yeah. She did work. She's done a lot of she did a lot of different stuff during her lifetime. Like she worked for like my grandparents' film studio as like a runner and like and casting and stuff like that. And she worked for other film studios in that sort of vein. And then she became an artist, and she worked both as like she was actually getting her art sold in galleries, and she also like took like classes for other would-be artists, was a teacher for a bit as well. So yeah, she knows what it's like to have done some work.
That's great.
Not that raising a damn kid by yourself, especially a little hellraiser like me, wasn't work enough in itself.
Exactly.
But
but my mom took a different path. My mom just decided to quit her job and become a professional full-time like complainer. I'm just gonna complain at home to my son about how he's not on the computer too much and all that, and then complain.
Does your mom watch any of these podcasts?
She does. I'm giving her a shout out right now.
Yeah.
It was her who gave us the advice to light everything better.
Yeah. Oh, true that.
So that was my.
Hey, Marcus's mum.
I'm gonna put you in my next podcast now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
One of the nastiest people. Like, if she did that shit in Toronto, if she was like chasing orders in restaurants and chewing people out, like she would just chew out an entire bank. Because people because you gotta know that time is so precious in Hong Kong. Like if you gotta do something at the bank, like let's say, because she doesn't believe in online banking. She doesn't know that people around like Hong Kong, we're still a little behind on the online stuff. Most of us are pretty good now, but people from my parents' generation, they're like, oh, I need to see the employee, I need to talk to them, I need to do all that, I need to see them, feel the money in my hands. So they can only go to the bank on the lunch breaks. Yeah. And banks will get fucking just, it's like a rock concert there. It's just fucking packed. Yeah. So people are in line, oh, this is my lunch break, I gotta get something to eat before I go back to work. And then banks are taking a long time because of tellers. And then she would just stand in front of a teller and chew the entire place out. And then like she would actually get an audience. It's kind of like a comedic thing. Yeah, it's kind of like people are like, oh, this is pretty good, like, it's entertainment, and people are like off their phones, and like at first I was just like, this is how I'm getting my confidence from talking in public and all that, because I would just be the kid. At first I was kind of embarrassed. At first when I was young I was like, oh god, my mom's doing it, but now my mom's at it again, I'm just gonna stand on the side and watch her, and she would have this punchline at the end after saying, "Oh, how can you people have such poor management? You have no idea. You're gonna handle your traffic. You're gonna." And then at the end, with the managers and everybody's here, and okay, how can we help you, ma'am? And then she would be like, "Oh, I'm here to cancel my account." And everybody's just laughing.
For me, going to restaurants was always a funny one because, like I said, my mum's side of the family is actually originally from the US, and my dad's side of the family, they're like several generations New Zealanders, and then British before that, British and Irish before that. And my parents split when I was quite young. Like, I don't even remember them splitting. I was so young. So I'd go to like restaurants for my dad's side of the family, and it was a very New Zealand approach to things. Like, the New Zealand approach to things is, if something's wrong with the restaurant,
you shut up.
You just eat it, shut up, you leave. You probably might not go back, but like, in many ways, the American approach is probably, I can see merits in it, but like...
What's the American approach?
Well, the American approach is to like lay out everything that was wrong about the experience, but then you might actually go back because you might be like, oh, well, this thing and that thing was good. Let's see if they've actually improved it after the complaints we made. But like, it was, when I was growing up, I'd almost dread because, you know, when a waiter or waitress comes round and is like, how was everything today? It's more like a formality in New Zealand as opposed to actually them expecting any feedback.
Oh, yeah.
And like, when
waiters talk way too much here.
Yeah. Exactly. With my dad's side of the family, they knew the formality. They'd be like, yeah, everything's great. And in their minds, they're like, this food's fucked up. You've overcooked my steak.
Yeah, but they don't say much.
But so I would always get filled with this sense of dread as the meal was going, especially if my granddad had actually been complaining about something. And
dread from embarrassment?
Yeah, because like, you know, it's a New Zealand waitress, I'm a New Zealander, and we kind of almost know the code, but they come up and they're like, oh, is there anything wrong? And like, my granddad's made like this list, and it's like, well, you overcooked that, this took fucking 20 minutes to come out, and you know, these are, you know.
What's the tipping culture like in New Zealand? Is it fucking insane like North America?
Nah, they're like, people get paid an actual like living wage off.
So
it's still pretty shitty, really, but it's higher pay than service here, and there is.
But I don't get it. But if the minimum wage is like 14 here, then it's pretty good.
I think servers still get a little less. Like, servers are still paid pretty well, but I think servers here can.
Then what's the point of minimum wage if they can still pay less?
Oh, because tipping culture exists, so it swings and roundabouts. So it's like,
how about just pay at least the minimum wage, and you can erase all this nonsense?
Yeah,
you know. I have this bit that opens like, white people tip like they're allergic to money. It makes me fucking sick. You know.
Well, get a serving job then if it makes you that sick. But
it's ridiculous.
But it's the worst thing. Like, when I was going around the US,
I've been like a server. I mean, like kind of like a cashier and server cashier. But servers get tipped way too much.
Yeah.
It's almost like you don't need like. You don't even need it to go for another job.
It's I get people go for jobs anyway because who wants to do that for the rest of their lives? Like, early to mid-20s to like bang out some money and get paid well, fair enough. But I couldn't imagine being like, I'm too old and grumpy. Like, I couldn't imagine being up late and doing all that sort of shit no matter how much you paid me. But yeah, like, there's no tipping culture in New Zealand. Like, it's kind of just something that happens if the service is exceptional. But even then, most New Zealanders don't. It's mainly like some people, like my grandparents.
Don't you think it's counterintuitive if you tip all the time? Like, then like exceptional service doesn't get as much attention.
Yeah,
you know,
it's true though. Like, I mean, at least in the US, you can kind of like, I don't know. It seems like 20% seems to be the. It's less in Canada, but in the US it seems like 20% is kind of like your midpoint. If they're shitty, you can go lower, and if they're bad, you can go higher. So there is something there. But in New Zealand, you do get, like, put it this way, you do actually get better service in the US than you get in New Zealand.
Do you?
Even though some servers in the US just expect tips and it's ingrained as opposed to actually working for it. But yeah, you do get. And also probably because they can make good money from those jobs, they are slightly more desirable than like the service industry jobs are back home. So yeah, you do get like better service overall in the US than you do in New Zealand. And also probably because of all the other things I listed above, that like people in the US are more likely to complain about things than New Zealanders are. And it's also just kind of ingrained, and, you know, it's a little bit more ingrained in their culture to expect more of service, as well as like, you know, so
Yeah, waiters back home make no money.
And just because, like I said, it's more a laid back culture back home, so that goes to everything. But yeah,
like I think like the restaurant business is very indicative of how society functions and as a whole, because you can see because it's so visceral and it's so personal, right?
Yeah.
Feeding people, right? And it's definitely a different world almost being here in Canada or in Toronto. Like it's so much slower. It's so much more like an experience.
Yeah.
But back home it's more like a business. It's more like a factory. It's like an industry, just churning out food and like cranking them out. But here it's like art.
Yeah.
You know, here's more like art.
There's probably rich people in Hong Kong who are eating that way.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I guess for sure, but most of it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
So, I guess we're kind of we're 20 minutes.
So why aren't you competing?
Oh yeah, I was just going to go to competing. Well, mainly, two reasons. Like, I don't want to put this all on my girlfriend, but like, it's her work's Christmas party the Friday before the competition.
Oh, it's like it's November 30, whatever.
Yeah, there's this Friday, November 30, and this comp's on the 1st.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
gonna get shit faced.
Yeah, I'll probably get drunk with her and her workmates, and especially considering like I haven't met a lot of her workmates yet, so I'll be kind of nervous. I'm gonna be like one more drink. Try not to embarrass her too much in front of them, but that'll be the case. And two, like I said, being in New York 2 weeks ago now, pretty much is making my bank balance. My bank balance is tapping out. I can't you got to respect the tap. Like, sometimes.
Yeah. $75.
Yeah. Well, 75 is reasonable. I don't know. Do they give you a T-shirt or something for that?
No, nothing. And you have to bring 2 kilos of non-perishable food as a part of donations.
Oh yeah, true that.
So
at least some homeless people are going to be fed. I can get in behind that.
Yeah.
And free, I also like beyond all the excuses. I just don't feel ready to compete yet. Like
that's probably the primary.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like most of my weight is sitting around here as opposed to actually in your muscles where it should be. So I'd be like,
what's your weight class?
I'd be competing in quite a high weight class. Like I think I'm weighing in at about 90 kg at the moment.
What's that in poundage?
In pounds, it's like over 180. Like it'd put me in there's like 185 pounds is one of the
181 is the max for middle.
Yeah, so I'd probably be like in the next one up, whereas I really wouldn't want to be.
What is that? Welter? No, welter's below middle.
Yeah, so is
heavy.
it light heavy?
Middle heavy, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. We should have researched this before getting on a podcast, maybe. Yeah. But no, so I'm not going to be competing. I'll come cheer you on because you signed up today, yeah?
Yeah, I just signed up. I was flip-flopping back and forth. Nice. Basically, going through your list of excuses as well.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not the ready one because I think I'm as ready as can be. Like, I don't know.
Well, you're going to be like you've said before. You're probably one of the better white belts running around at the gym. So
yeah. So I think I'm going to do this. Yeah. I'm going to do my best. And I'm not going to compete for a long time after. Guess what? I'm not. People are always being like, "Oh, you should compete at every opportunity." No, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Not unless you want to be a pro. Then yeah, you should. But if this is just a sport to you,
I can see how you do get stuff out of competing though, because I learn just as much from the technique. I mean, the techniques and specifics are great, but I learn just as much from the rolls at the end now. And like now, it is like and especially it's rewarding when I've just been learning a new technique to actually successfully apply it in a roll. Like I got someone with a sweep yesterday, and I just learned the sweep earlier that class. Yeah. So that was quite a nice sort of reward to get that, even though the guy was like, it's quite good actually. I mean, it's probably one of the better rolls I've had so far. Neither one of us submitted each other, and we both kind of got from top to bottom, but he was a 2-stripe and I've got no stripes, so to like go 5 minutes without getting tapped once by a 2-striper, and to also kind of I got side control on him once, and he had a dominant position on me once. I don't know what it would actually look like it was scored, but in terms of like it felt pretty even to me. I think he had a little bit more top time, but I finished on top. So
what made me go back to competing was that I asked Roman. Do you know who Roman is?
No.
Tall, like Russian looking guy, like really fucking strong chin.
Yeah.
Just really tough. He was the guy that I was gonna look out for because he was in my weight class, and I was like, and he's really good. He actually suffered a knee injury, like, and was out for like 9 months.
Yeah.
But now that he's back, he's still beating me. You know? And I was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna be a nightmare. And I asked him, are you competing? He's like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
So the pathway's clear.
Oh, okay. If he's not competing, then I really don't have too many people to worry about.
Nice.
Maybe like 2, 3 other guys.
Well, yeah,
But like,
talk big on this.
Why compete if you don't have a chance? Which is what I did last time. I competed when I had 0 chance, and I got tapped out in 10 seconds, and I didn't learn anything. I really didn't. People, I learned so much from losing. No, I didn't learn anything. I just learned that I can tap. That's what I learned. Oh, I can tap when I know I'm
know
in pain.
that from roles after class anyway.
Exactly. So
talk big on this podcast, because I'm going to be the official naps and taps groupie if I'm not competing. I'm going to bring that camera.
Oh, great.
I'm going to get some footage of you.
Oh, good. Oh, thanks.
And
I'm going to wear my nicest gi.
Yeah, we're going to roll it out on this show. I say that now, but I should probably talk to someone at the club and ask if I'm allowed to take some footage.
Of course you are. Yeah.
We're going to take footage if I'm allowed to anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll bring my nice white gi so I can get in the group photo afterwards, and I'll post it on my social media as if I did.
And we can do like a commentary. You know how, like, oh, look at, and we can you can record my fights and be like, this is me fucking up the sweep, and this is me getting a
exactly.
choke.
Yeah, we'll do like a podcast. It's just us. We'll do like our own little fight companion, and we'll copy the JRE commentary. And do a little fight companion.
Gracie breakdown. The snaps and taps breakdown.
Exactly. So
white belts breakdown.
Say if you were gonna walk out to something, what would be your walkout music?
That'd be Tool Jambi. It's just thunderous, energetic, like monstrosity of a track that's just really hype, fired up.
What album is that off?
10,000 Days.
Okay, because I know you love your Tool. You're wearing that T-shirt again.
Yeah.
The age generation thing's funny because like I've only listened to 10,000 Days a couple of times, but I got into Tool like when Undertow and Anima were their recent releases, like in the 90s.
Yeah, that was the best era.
Yeah. It's I saw Tool in concert on the Anima tour. That's how. Yeah. I was quite young to be going to a concert then. I was like 15, 16 or something.
Wow. I would kill to be.
Yeah.
I would have been like 5.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible there in the North Shore Event Centre. But anyway, I think I would, like, it's hard for me because I like so many different genres of music. It's quite varied, but I think I'd just have to copy Dan Hooker walks out to David Dallas, who's a New Zealand rapper. He's got a song called Running, and it's kind of like I don't know, again, it's more like one of those ones that like builds really slowly and then starts, and like it's just got some good one-liners in it that are like, it's not a fighting song specifically, but it's like, about one of those songs that is like a good sort of gym hype.
Yeah. Like music like that is great, like hype people up and inspirational music and people pumped. Like, yeah, why not? I mean, it doesn't have to be rock, hip hop can do great things with that.
I also love that it is like, Dan Hooker's like our New Zealand UFC fighter, and so is Israel Adesanya, obviously, but like Israel just walks out to whatever he wants to depending on his mood before each fight. But like he walked out of Madison Square Garden to like an American artist, and like I'm not saying you should specifically have to pick New Zealand music, but I do love that Dan Hooker's like, when he fought in Vegas, it was like, a New Zealand rapper sounds playing at like the T-Mobile Arena, so I do love that he's on the world stage with that flag on his back and walking out to our sounds as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's such a great idea to mix like sports with like politics or like nations and stuff like that. Like I'm not criticizing it, but I'm just questioning it. Like the Olympics, everybody's become like the whole point of sports is to try to erase barriers, right? Is to try to put man to man and women to women as individuals as possible. Try to equalize everything.
I think my camera is probably going to stop. Yeah. Boom, part 2. Sorry, I had to cut you off real quick there because my shitty camera only records half an hour at a time. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so I was talking about I'm just questioning if mixing sports and politics is really such a great idea, because you're not gonna go to a concert and people and the band is let's say Oasis is playing. Yeah. They might have a British flag, I don't know, but it's not that big a deal. But for some reason, sports, and especially sports in North America, you're singing the fucking national anthem every fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, really? Do you really need to do that?
That's one's bizarre to me coming from New Zealand, because like the whole singing the national anthem at like boxing matches and regular season games for club teams. That's weird. Like in New Zealand, we sing the national anthem before like two international sides playing each other.
Maybe.
Like if New Zealand plays England, we'll have the national anthem from each of those countries. But if we're watching a rugby game between a team from Auckland and a team from Wellington, two New Zealand cities, by the way, if our Canadian viewers don't know that, you won't have the New Zealand national anthem at just that domestic game.
But in America, they would play the national anthem every fucking time.
Shit gets real weird when like I used to live with a guy back in New Zealand who was super into boxing, and he was telling me that if there's a boxing match between two Mexicans, they'd still roll out the American national anthem before it, just because they're in America and they're like, oh, it's a sporting event, so we play the anthem. This is what we do. It gets weird when like.
I would prefer it if sports became a little less. Like
it's super weird and stuff like baseball, where half of them are like from Dominican Republic, Cuba. The list goes on, and like hockey, when you like watch two American teams play each other and they belt out the American national anthem, and I like say my favorite team's the Pittsburgh Penguins, and like you look at the starting lineups out on the ice and you're like, oh, Matt Murray's from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Sidney Crosby's from Canada as well. And then they've got like Patrick Hornqvist from Sweden.
To their credit, to the Americans' credit, their national anthem is pretty good. Yeah, like I've sampled a few national anthems, and like musically, the American national anthem has the most contour and the most sort of like it's got. No, like we don't have that. Yeah, what's the New Zealand anthem like?
It's pretty. I think it's pretty good. It's short, which is important to me.
What does it sound like?
You're gonna have to like look it up, because even my girlfriend won't tell me I've got a good singing voice. Like even my girlfriend's like, you're singing.
Just pretend like you're at a sporting event. Like, oh Canada, our home and native land. Do you know ours?
Yeah, I know one because I always go to TFC and like hockey games, so I know I can sing both the Canadian and the New Zealand national anthem. So what even the American?
Do it for me so I can hear it.
No, I'll do it for you after.
Oh come on! Do it for our fans. They want to hear it too. You've got New Zealand fans. Come on, let's hear it. I'll sing the Chinese one if you want.
That's not a good. It's just like.
It's kind of similar to the Canadian one. It's kind of like it's an anthem for the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the American national anthem is not an anthem for the crowd. It's an anthem for fucking Beyonce. Yeah. And people who can sing. But the Canadian one, anybody can sing it.
Well, I'm not really like. That's why you should Google it, because me like.
We'll put it in post.
Me droning on isn't really an accurate representation of how I'm tone deaf. Yeah. I can barely remember the words anymore, but I do know the words if you push me. But like I'm tone deaf. I don't think I could give you any example of what the
Chinese national anthem, funny enough, is extremely communist. Yeah, it's just really it's about going to war, and it's about fighting Americans, and rockets. It's kind of like the American ones, like rockets and dying and all that shit. So I was like, maybe we should update this.
It's Yeah, some of them can be quite brutal. National anthem says like a funny story from ages back, because how like for a national team, like be it a soccer team or a rugby team, all the players have to be from that country, but the coaches can be from anywhere.
Oh, is that right? I don't know.
Yeah. For most sports, it's just the players have to be from that country, and the coaches can be from anywhere.
It's like a big controversy, right? Yeah. Back when World War II, when the Olympics happened in Berlin, Hitler was like saying, "Oh, the Americans were only winning because of all the African flesh that they had." Yeah, and they had to sing, and then of course all the Black Power stuff. So
talk about like someone who hated that show as like Hitler's like the superior race, and then all of a sudden like all these black guys are like superior race what, bitch, gold medal.
Exactly.
Anyway, to just sum up that gag I heard, this is like from the 90s. There's like this English guy coaching the Irish soccer team, and he like during the national anthems before his first game in charge, he like looked at his assistant coach. He's like, oh God, this anthem goes on forever. Fucking what's... And he's like... What?
And someone taped him?
No, he's just like bagging out the anthem because he thought it was the other team's one. He's like, oh, look, fucking rubbish. And then the assistant coach is like, Jack, that's our anthem. He's like, oh, sorry.
Now the Haka, on the other hand, now that's something cool. That is something people should bring out. Like something like more that has more meaning, you know, and definitely more macho.
Yeah, it was pretty rad. Like,
more countries should have something like the Haka. But then if they do, then it would be like ripping off of the Haka. So.
You've just got to watch like rugby when New Zealand play the other Pacific nations. Like New Zealand has a Haka, but like, and that's kind of worldwide famous because of the All Blacks. Yeah. But all the other Pacific nations like Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Cook Islands, etc., they all have their own war dances, and it gets pretty epic when New Zealand plays them in either rugby or rugby league, and. Like, you know, one nation will kind of start and the other one will start theirs as the other one's finishing, and sometimes you even get like them doing their hakas simultaneously and they're like facing off of each other, trying to be louder, trying to be tougher.
Oh, so do it together? Yeah, they don't wait for each other?
Yeah, they'll be facing each other. And
I thought the etiquette was to let someone do it and then you do it, no?
Oh, well, when you're both kind of countries that have a war dance and like it's more just a kind of understanding of, because some like those dances can be war dances, but they can also be signs of respect and like ceremonial, like, you know, it can be
like
a big
performance.
Yeah, exactly. If you like it's a big honor for people to have like a haka done for them as well. So you know, you can take it either way, that like before those rugby matches they're both honoring each other as well as like throwing a challenge down. But it's more like, I think just as long as you're actually present for it is the thing. The thing that like really gets New Zealanders fired up is like some rugby nations, like most rugby nations will like face the All Blacks and like watch it, and it kind of says, some of them say it pumps them up too. But there have been previous there have been some countries that have just tried to like they've just gone and done their warm-ups when the All Blacks are doing the haka, like they've just gone and thrown a ball around and just ignored it. And the two times that's happened in my memory, like the All Blacks have gone out and absolutely hammered that team that's ignored it. Like they've tried to like ignore it as some sort of psychological ploy, but it just made these big tough bastards like even more angry. Because
the All Blacks, the All Blacks are a great team, right? Like are they ranked consistently?
They've won the last 2 Rugby World Cups. And their winning percentage overall, like you're talking about 100 years of like competition, their winning percentage is like something like 86%. That's great. Or something.
Because if you're gonna do something like that, you gotta have good results to back it up. I mean, if you're gonna do the haka and you're the bottom of the list, no one's gonna take you seriously.
People in New Zealand like freak out when the All Blacks lose, like, and it can be the most meaningless game. Like we could be playing another country in a best of 3, win the first 2. And then maybe rotate some players and lose the third, and people in New Zealand like lose their shit over like losing like this meaningless game. Like, or we play in this thing, we play
an exhibition game.
Well, most rugby games are exhibition games outside of the World Cup, and we also play in this tournament every year. That's us, South Africa, Australia, and Argentina.
There's like 3 of the best teams, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we can like have the competition won because there's no semi, no final. It's just like a straight round robin, and the team with the most points in the round robin wins it. We can have like the competition won already, and people will freak out if we lose the last game and we've still won the 4 nations competition. Like people lose their shit. There's like, it goes even further. Like most of our audience who are like friends of mine know this already, but for you and your friends, there's amazing stats. Like, not so amazing. This one's actually a really sad one that we need to do something about. People need to take their rugby a lot less seriously, because if the All Blacks lose, domestic violence rates shoot
kind of
up.
like LA with their Lakers. When the Lakers lose, there's a fucking riot every day.
Like, you know, guys get drunk at the pub and like they're mad, and then their woman's like, "Why are you home so late?" And that needs to stop. Like, if you're hitting your woman after the All Blacks, well, if you hit your woman for any reason, you're a piece of shit. But if you like hit her because the All Blacks lost a rugby game, you're like a piece of shit with shit on top of the shit. And the other side of the coin is if the All Blacks win something like not just a normal Test match, but like say when the All Blacks won the World Cup, go 9 months forward. there's going to be a lot more babies than normal. Like if the All Blacks win something really big, there's like birth rates shoot up 9 months after like the All Blacks winning.
And then babies get named after the players.
Yeah, exactly. Like half the babies born that 9 months later are named like Dan or Richie because they're like the two stars.
Who's like the LeBron James of the All Blacks?
It's hard to say now because I've been away from New Zealand for so long and don't follow it. But Dan Carter was like the dude who was like the LeBron James of the All Blacks back in the day.
What was he like? What was his like? How tall and like?
Well, he's like a little bit taller than me. Definitely like more built. Yeah. But he's also like in rugby. It's kind of similar to American football, where some positions are like really big and then some are more like fast, quick and slight of foot. Like he was just like everything to be a superstar back home. Like one, he was like very good looking, so like all the girls basically like wanted a piece of him, and he was kind of like one of those linchpin. He was basically like the quarterback of rugby as well. So. You know, the position that controls the game and
like the point guard.
The point guard, quarterback, whatever. Yeah. So he's kind of like that position of rugby, really good looking, and
like a Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly, and really good at his position. So like incredibly marketable and probably like one of the best players we've ever had, and also like. But
rugby is really a lot more fun to watch than football. Yeah, like because of you can't watch football.
I can watch highlights. It's funny how I'm wearing like a Rams hat now, as I say that I don't really watch, but. Put it this way, if there's no rugby and no rugby league, then football would be cool to me, but like I'd much rather watch one of those two, but football I'll sometimes watch on a Sunday when there's nothing else on. Yeah.
It's such an interesting rule that you can't pass forward, but it definitely makes the game a lot more interesting. You get to see the whole team moving, and it's a lot, and it makes a lot more sense then.
It's more just that, like, I enjoy watching the actual gameplay of American football, but if you could just somehow make it that, like, what I like about rugby is that there's one team, no defensive, no offensive, no special teams. It's just one team with people doing everything.
It becomes too much about strategy in America, not about like.
I get it that if you understand American football really well, then it can be fun to watch that the strategy battle unfold, but I'm not deep into it enough to care about that. And I'm also like, it's 60 minutes of playing time, but it takes 2.5 hours. Rugby is 80 minutes of playing time and it takes 90 minutes because they have a 10-minute break in the middle. If you could somehow give me a version of American football where it didn't stop and it kept on going, then I'd probably be down to watch. I'd definitely be down to watch that as well. Like, I like watching.
It's too much mixed in with advertising.
But back home, TV well, actually they have it here, but they have this thing called like Red Zone, or I don't know if it's Red Zone or something else like that. But basically, with the fact that there's like 6 American football games on at once, they'll just keep on switching from one to the other, so you're actually watching play. And I remember when I was in Denver, I caught up with some friends of mine and we went to like a bar that didn't have Red Zone, but they had like the Steelers game on that TV, the Rams game on that TV, the Broncos game on the big TV, and like I was in the bar drinking with them, and most people were just concentrating on one game still. It was kind of a cool bar because everyone's in their jerseys in different pockets. But I was like somewhere in the middle with my friends and I wasn't concentrating on one. I was just like, oh, something's happening in that one. Something's happening on that one. And kind of watching it like that. That I can handle it. But yeah, just all the stoppages kind of like rubbish to me.
Have you ever watched ping pong live? Not live, but like on TV.
I've watched it on TV. It's one of those sort of things that, one of those mini sports that when the Olympics is on, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I was just leaving it on the Olympic channel all day, and I'm like, well, it looks like I'm watching ping pong now. And the funny thing is, like, I love how every Olympics, everyone becomes an expert of the sport. They don't watch for the other, like
360 whatever days.
Well, yeah, like more like you boil it down to 4 years. I'm like, I watch the sport for like 2 weeks out of every 4 years, and I know everything about it now. And you're like arguing with your friends about all the ins and outs. And
everybody's an expert.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll watch it under those conditions. Are you going like full Asian stereotype, and you're going to tell me you watch ping pong all the time?
No. I really enjoy. I know ping pong enough to know how hard it is, and I can appreciate the dexterity and the skills behind every athlete, but it's not something that I would give a shit about on a regular basis, and most people don't. You know, that's why ping pong is it's not a real profession, really. I don't know.
I can't. Well, if someone's getting paid to play ping pong, there's something wrong with the world, I feel.
You don't think it's a worthy skill or a craft to be really good at Japan. I mean, it's kind of like tennis.
Well, get good at real tennis then.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking lazy motherfuckers just standing around a table and playing.
It really is. It really is more like a game than it is a sport.
Yeah, I think I can pretty much never go to China now after this episode airs.
Well, what about some of the more non-sports like shooting or archery? What about that? Like pool? Do you think that's a Olympic? Is pool an Olympic? No,
it's not an Olympic sport. It's a game of skill to me, not a sport. I mean, it's kind of like darts. I think is a game of skill, not a sport.
Yeah.
A lot of these things technically are sports when you go to the actual true dictionary definition, but I'm just being an asshole, so yeah, is what it is. But yeah, what else was I gonna say? News from back home, and an Auckland school has decided to cancel their end of year awards because some kids feel left out if they don't get an award, and teachers hate giving them out. What is your position on this PC culture?
Wait, say that again. Say that again. What's going on?
You know how like
graduation awards.
Well, it's like they're
consolation prizes.
Yeah, they're elementary school kids, so it's not like high school. But you're kind of like my generation was the beginning of, and your generation is right in the middle of
the decline, the twilight
of everyone gets a certificate for everything. And participation trophies.
Yeah, we didn't have too much of that, but I certainly won a fair share of medals, mostly from swimming and other sporting things. I don't care much about them. It's just like it's a little bit like the Jiu-Jitsu thing that we're doing, right? Yeah. Which is like everybody pitches in, and then we get a little bit of congratulations at the end.
Yeah, but I guess in this the Jiu-Jitsu thing, I guess only the winners are getting medals, right?
But what exactly is happening with the?
There's like this elementary school. Well, we don't call them elementary schools in New Zealand, but of that age for our international viewers, primary school for my people back home.
Primary school, we call them that too.
Oh, you do. Oh, that's right.
British.
You were British system. Yeah. So a school of that age group, the teachers have decided they're not going to have their end of year prize giving.
Yeah, good.
Because kids are feeling left out.
Good.
And teachers hate giving the awards out. All right, so you're for it.
Yeah, it doesn't. We're not. Maybe it's more like an American thing.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but Americans are getting so soft.
Yeah,
they really are just softening up. But we never had much of that. It was more like sporting things.
Yeah,
sportings and. We don't even give out too many awards for academic achievement. Actually, there aren't. You're like your grade is your reward, getting an A, and then like around middle school I start to realize like I don't care about A or B or C. I really don't. I just want to get the fuck out of here. And people are spending like 12 hours a day hammering books into their head so I can get an A's, and just so that for what though? Like
you would laugh at this picture that my another one of my Asian friends shared on Facebook. He actually rolls at he used to roll at BJJ, but I haven't seen him in a while. He's a blue belt, and I think he rolls during the day, so we don't see him at night. But he shared this like picture of like the Asian academic scale, and it was like A, average, B, below average. I can't remember what C stood for, but it was like D, don't come home.
Don't come home,
F, find a new family.
It wasn't that bad in my family because nobody were like overachievers in my family, but I can definitely see my friends like aging prematurely due to lack of sleep and malnutrition.
And his caption was something like ha ha ha, Asian families get grade scale, and it said something like 98%. Where did the other 2% go to your room?
Luckily for me, it wasn't that extreme, but there was a little bit of push. I don't know. What was your childhood like? What did your parents go like? Extracurricular, extra tuition, extra tutoring? Was there a lot of that? Because I had a lot of that.
It wasn't like
curricular tutoring after class, math, English.
I had like extracurricular tutoring.
Maybe you should have had more extracurricular tutoring
and public speaking. Should have had some tutoring in that. But I had some in maths and some other subjects. But it was more kind of like stuff that I was actually interested in. Like they tried to like pushed me harder in some of the stuff. They were like, oh well, this guy is never going to be interested in biology, so we're not even going to try and force him to get good at that. But math from a young age had a bit of that. And yeah, I was never really overly pushed, but I kind of like, but you know, I was never like, the whip wasn't too harsh, but they tried to at least steer me in the right direction. They kind of like, you know, I didn't have to do shit I didn't want to do, but I kind of got the positive reinforcement for doing stuff. Like, yeah, they were said if I wanted to go do sport and stuff, the other shit needed to be done.
There's a meme out there that's pretty. I don't know if are you into memes? I love memes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And you know how the Pikachu meme is now the next big like the biggest thing, right? So there's one that goes Asian parents or parents like forces kids to learn piano at age 4, and then kids majors in music.
Yeah.
And then parents.
You shared that on your Instagram, right? Yeah. Follow this man if you haven't yet.
Yeah, it's really
I saw that.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty
I posted
crack up. Yeah. Follow me back on Instagram too, motherfucker. I followed you, and there's been no reciprocation.
Yeah, I've been eating up.
There's no host love here. No host love.
I've been eating up followers and just been greedy because you know I'm getting a lot of.
It's all about those ratios, right? Like you don't want to be all like, oh, I've got less followers and.
Following.
But follow me sooner. I'm going to unfollow you to protect my own ratio.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm getting a lot of messages from people posing as producers and music promoters, and they message me and be like, "Hey, let's work together." And I mean, I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, if you buy one of my tracks and you can sing on it or whatever." Yeah. Like, "Oh, if you want to, oh yeah, just like for $20, I'll give you like 15,000 followers or some, you know, some like bots, predators."
Yikes.
Yeah. So
I don't get any of that because I don't have music in my title.
Exactly. So I like block out a lot of my you know the heart, you know, the who's following me kind of thing. So I didn't see that you followed me actually.
I got you.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll give you an extra.
There we go. There. My Instagram's right there, so you know you can click on that. Yeah. I just kind of want to end the show on like it's been such a. I wanted to start with this, but it's been a nice, light-hearted show, so it kind of feels a bit of a shame to end it on a downer. Like I've decided to wear today's hat. I decided to LA theme it, the LA Rams. The wildfires kind of ripped through the place. They were all quite close to where my family actually now lives. So like it actually kind of gutted a street where my family used to live on.
Oh wow! So your family right there, huh?
Yeah. So it hit them pretty hard, and like it's kind of weird. We've done like 5 episodes of this podcast in total, 3 of this title and 2 rehearsals, and like the Pittsburgh shootings was a community that I've been involved in, and like now this like that particular part of LA got hit pretty hard because they had like their shooting and then the wildfires started the next day. So you know, everyone in LA, you're all awesome. People hate on Californians for some reason. I don't know why, but I love you all. It's just a shout out to like, you know, all the firemen putting in work and you know, basically respect to anyone that's like running towards somewhere where everyone else is running away from. It's
real heroes don't wear capes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you've seen some of the footage is incredible though. There's like
I see some pictures.
Did you see the time lapse on the BBC website?
No.
There's like a guy from sort of downtown LA that did like a time lapse of it all starting. It's kind of like it's wide enough away that like it's haunting, but it's like wide enough away to not show the full impact.
Isn't there like protocol in place? Shouldn't there be protocols in place by now? I mean, how many fucking fires have they had that they don't? Like we have celebrities' homes getting burned down.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if we don't protect our celebrities, what value are we putting on society, right? I mean, if our actors and musicians and like comedians aren't the first priority for first responders, then what are we doing?
I guess it just moved too quickly. Like, there's other footage, like there's footage on the Independence website of like cars driving along an LA freeway and the fire's right by the freeway, and it just shows how quickly it probably moved because most people are going to be like, I'm going to avoid that part of the freeway because it was like literally right by the road, and there's like put it this way, it's so close that the helicopter dumping water on the fire was like getting water on lanes of the highway as it was like hitting the fire. So I guess it just moved incredibly. Like Miley Cyrus, her home burnt down. Like
One of her homes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly it. I was just saying, like, these celebrities will be okay. One of their homes burnt down, they go to another one.
Yeah.
I feel disrespectful because I wanted to, like, take a serious tone with this segment, but there's a joke about the whole fire starting by Miley twerking on something like in there that, like, I'm now just picturing, like, Miley, like, on the wall of her house, and then they'd be like, oh fuck, what have I done? So apologies to my LA based family if you're actually watching this podcast. I'm now making a joke of it. I hope you guys and your friends are okay. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're doing, trying to make something good out of something shitty.
That's what comedians are. I'm gonna try and go for Anthony Jeselnik's record of, like, too soon with it all. Do you see any, like, Joe Rogan's Instagram?
Recently, what
he was like, he evacuated and one of his buddies stayed, and he went back when his house was saved, like, you know, and then
he cut meat, right?
Yeah, like, he put on, like, a massive barbecue for, like, a lot of the firefighters and other first responders in the area, so, you know, respect to him for that. Like,
have you ever thought of becoming a fireman when you were a kid? I always wanted to be a cop.
Yeah, I've got, like, a buddy who's a cop in Australia, and he, like, mercilessly makes fun of firefighters for, I guess, like,
being pussies.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I couldn't be a cop, eh? And, like, he doesn't actually make fun of any of them to their face, but he's always like just joking around with us and on his Facebook and all that sort of shit. I know that's probably us for another week. Stay strong, people in LA. Up yours for twerking and causing a fire, Miley. We'll catch you next week. Naps and taps out. Os.